Welcome to Small Talk with Kenya and Dawn. I'm Dawn.
And I'm Kenya.
So we are back here with part 3, and we've been talking about motherhood. Again, we have our special guest here today. This is Chakari, and this is my oldest daughter, Jocelyn. So where we left off last week was we were talking about what we have learned about ourselves through motherhood. So Kenya, since we're a little bit more seasoned than these two, what are some of the things that you've learned about yourself?
That I'm a very impatient person.
Oh, okay.
I have learned that I have been able to give more than I thought I could. You talked about loving kids, and sometimes I think I stretch myself more than what I can. I've learned to push myself beyond by stretching myself through my kids. I've never thought that I could take 3 people in this world. And, my kids are 30, 21, and 16, but it's still like they are still my babies. Motherhood, it never stops.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of things about myself.
Yeah.
But I'm learning to correct a lot of things about myself. More so than what I'm learning about myself.
Yeah. What have you learned, Jocelyn?
Ooh, I learned a lot. I learned what patience really is. I already knew I was impatient.
Very impatient.
I already knew that. But I've learned that I can be patient. I've learned that there's situations where you have to be.
Yeah.
Being impatient is not an option. I did learn that. And I've learned just how to let things just be. Like I've learned that we just talked about, control. I've learned that, okay, well, there are going to be things you don't have control over. You're just going to have to wait it out and let it be and let it, work itself out. So I did learn that sometimes it's best just to do the work and be patient and allow things to play out. And I just, I would say learn, but my faith has been activated. I didn't necessarily learn. Well, I guess you can kind of say you learned how to actually practice it versus just knowing what it is or say I have faith in this, but learning how to actually practice your faith appropriately or how you really should be, So yeah, I would say.
So expand upon that a little bit when you say practice your faith. What exactly do you mean by that? Because I think that's a really, really good point.
So just like I was saying with Cairo, really, Cairo's taught me so much about, myself and motherhood just with this situation, but, being that all of it kind of comes together, being patient with him and understanding that I don't have control, I have to be patient, and to also recognize God is the one who has control, and that's what I need to lean into to help me through it. And if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do faith-wise and doing what the Bible says do, I'll see that reward happening for the things I'm praying for and in my kids. So, and it's like I have to do this if he is, what I'm focusing on right now for, him to overcome whatever obstacles are in his way. I don't see that happening if I'm not doing my part, it's beyond just making sure that they're fed and making sure that they're clothed. But, you have to pray for them and live out, life the way that God wants us to.
Right.
In order, if I want to see that blessing, I have to do what I need to do to get the blessing.
That's good.
So as far as faith-wise, just expanding on that. But I can say if it wasn't for him having that diagnosis and us going through this, I don't think that I would be in the season, I don't know if you would call it season or just in the space that I am right now with really pursuing my faith. So it's I don't know if it was an unfortunate situation. I say unfortunately that's what it took. I do wish that you know what I'm saying? I wish that maybe we've always known God. I've been saved, been in church, majority of our lives and everything. But I realized that, okay, I've gotten this far. I have so much farther to go, and I wish I would have realized that. It didn't take for him to have autism for me to realize that. And I don't know if that's why God allowed it. I feel like that's why he did, But that's something that I would say that I learned about myself, and then I'm capable of doing it. Like it's not so far-fetched. Like you are capable of expanding on.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much more than what we know. There's so much more to learn. You never know everything.
That's good.
Yeah, so
That's good.
that's what I would say.
What about you, Chakari?
For me, I guess number one, just being, learning just to be conscious about every decision I make. I'm not only living for myself. I have a daughter, and I have to, just know that she's watching everything that I'm doing. Trying to be intentional with the things I do, the things that, the things I expose her to. Of course, and it was just me, it's certain music I could listen to and certain things I could watch. With her, I can't do that. Also learning, that I'm wiser before her. Like I know I was, probably a little reckless. So just making better decisions. Also sowing seeds. I don't know, I'm kind of believer in that. Just, sowing seed to others, because I feel like those blessings not only will come back on me, but on my child as well, in generations to come.
That's good. That's really good. One thing that I've learned is being selfless.
That is,
and putting them first. And I shared earlier with us being a military family, and it was hard for them to move and have to leave their friends and just be in so many different places. But we always wanted to make sure that we were putting them in the better schools that we could. It wasn't just for, okay, well, the rent's going to be cheaper here, so we can, but no, we have to make those sacrifices. And just because it may have been easier for us, then it wasn't going to always be the best for them. So that was one of the things that we had to, give up, and just paying attention to them, being mindful, of them, and not thinking of myself first. When you are by yourself, then you can do things that you wanted to do before, but you can't do those things when you have children that's involved. As far as also being a mom, how important is it for you to have your village around you?
Extremely.
Everything.
Seriously.
Everything.
I really appreciate my village.
Yeah. So you and your mom, you live like 20-25 minutes apart. So you guys, you have, and your family is here. So you do have a support system that's here. We, of course, we're 2 hours away, which is a little bit more difficult, for us. Thank goodness for FaceTime, and we're able to see our, see the boys, and and they're able to see us, and that was important for us as well. But you still have family here. Jeremy's dad is here, and there's other family and stuff that's here. So how important is that for you to have the village around?
For me, it's very important because, like you said, we didn't grow up around ours. We saw them as often as we could, summers, holidays, and stuff. But I appreciate how we were brought up, because I'm able to function in pretty much any setting, like culturally, anything. And we've kind of were forced into like making friends, like we didn't have cousins, if we weren't playing with friends, it was just us three, so we kind of, were forced to, I don't know if you would say cultured or whatever it is, but, just to kind of function without our family around on a day-to-day basis, I am appreciative of that. But I don't want that for my kids. Like, I want them to grow up around their family.
Right.
I want them to know what it's like to have support around them all the time if they need it. Especially with Cairo, if anything happens or if anything goes wrong and I can't get to them, there's somebody who I can call that I know I can trust, that I just didn't meet a year ago, that can go and get to him, or just any of the kids, both of them. Or if I need something, I got, your mom is around the corner, friends, Jeremy's dad's down the street. So it's important. I really do want them to grow up with their community around them. So it's very important to me.
Yeah, I think it is really, really important. Another thing I wanted to ask is, and you were touching on faith, and we talked about this in the last segment, the last series that we did, when we talked about an ungodly man. And that is the introduction to Christ. How important has that been for not just yourself, because you two already know him, but introducing him to your children?
Extremely important. Carly's granddad is a pastor, so she's kind of grown up in the church. Very, very important. I try to show her, not only tell her, but just show her, lead by example. It's so funny because it was times where I was doing like a 6 a.m. Bible study or every week on Mondays, and then I think we started doing stuff in the evening, and Carly will come. Is it time for Bible study? It used to be so funny, and just praying with her. And that's also when I was talking about the music I listen to. Like 9 times out of 10, when she's in the car with me, we either listen to 104.1 or gospel music. Gospel music. Now when she's with her dad, probably
maybe different.
It's very important. Just praying and is exposing her to God and the Christian way of life. Yes.
What about my boys?
Very important. Them boys need to know who the Lord is. They are out of control right now. But it's important because I don't want them to have to learn about it, in the future. I want them to be familiar with it now. Obviously we don't know how our kids are going to turn out. A lot do get out on their own, they go to college or whatever, and they choose to go this way. But I feel like if it's in them now, if this is all that they've known and grow up with, even if they do go and, stray, my hope is that it'll show up. It'll show up in them. You know what I mean? Like they won't be able to get away from it. You may think you're getting away from it, but I'm hoping that foundation will draw them back, to it, especially once we're gone. So I don't want to have to, right now you got to make them go, but I don't want it to have to be somebody has to make them go. I want them to feel like they need to go because that's all that they know. So even like now I make them put their little hands together, and they used to rebel a few months ago, but now when Jeremy starts praying, Taj knows what he's doing, and he says pray, and he put his hands together because he knows what that sounds like. So we may say let's pray, and he's off doing whatever, but when Jeremy says Father God, he pray, and he puts his hands together. So I want them to just that be their instinct, and not something they have to grow to learn as they get older. It's harder to learn stuff when you're older, and to drop habits, and some people are set in their ways and all of this stuff. So it's very important to me
to start them off, and it's like the scripture says, train them up. Train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they get old, they won't, depart from it. So even a lot of times, somebody may make that break. You've laid the foundation, you've planted the seed, so they already know what it is. They already know who God is. They know who Christ is, and they'll know who the Holy Spirit is as well. But once you've done that, and they may stray a little bit. But it's the teachings that's involved. It's those Bible studies that's involved. It's the prayers that's involved. And they will come back to it. They'll come back to it. But the important thing is like we said before, make the introduction. And so that they know what it means. Not just, we just do it just as repetition, but they know the meanings behind those things. And I know they're still young, 2, 3, and 5-year-olds. They're still young, but they will grasp onto those things, and they will consistently learn about them. I think it's very important to start them off as young as you possibly can, and allow them to see what it is. I remember when we were at home, and you and Kendra were, probably 2 and 3, probably the same age as, I don't even know if y'all were 2 and 3, maybe 1 and 2, but we had you in church, and they were running around that church like they had no sense at all. They were in and out of the pews, and the ladies in the church were like, don't say anything to them, leave them girls alone, let them do what they want to do. Like, they gotta learn, but it was important for them even then to for us to take them to church, so that they were they were introduced to who God was. But we tried to teach them some some manners in there, but they just would not listen.
I gave up. I tried to keep them, and when we're at in Augusta with you guys and at Dad's church, I tried.
How do they do?
I used to every service. Y'all will see me raise up at some point and take them to Dad's office.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, they can do whatever they want to do. I don't care. Because when the ladies at the church was like, they are just fine. You don't have to take them up and put them up nowhere. They are fine. They are kids. They're doing what they're supposed to do. You see this one right here, this 6 foot tall boy. That was him, you know. So they were like, we've all been through it. So I'm like, well, anybody gonna say nothing to me anyway? Daddy's the pastor, so go ahead. Daddy's the pastor, so run around, do what you want to do. Just don't hurt nobody.
But kids are doing what kids do.
Yeah.
And that's just, but those are other mothers and grandmothers that are there that understand, so they already know. You know, it wouldn't matter because these kids are being kids.
Yeah.
And honestly, at their age, to be able to sit for 2
That's
hours at a time, that's a lot for
Right.
them. Yeah.
We struggle.
Right.
Yeah.
All sleep and stuff. Yeah. And that's what she told me. She was like, it's hard for us to sit here for 2 hours. What makes you think it ain't hard for the kids?
Yeah. And especially when they're used to, being able to move around and have their thing.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, give them that little bit of space to do
I
it.
do, but it's important. It's important. And I also don't want them to be introduced to it. I want to be the one to introduce it to them. You know, because your introduction may not be the one that's correct.
Right.
Not to say we get everything right all the time,
Right.
but I want to be the one to introduce that to you. So when you get out there and you hear stuff, you'll recognize it, and you're not learning about it outside of here and coming back with false information. You know.
So I wanna ask this question: how important is it for you to take care of your mental health as a mom?
Let me go.
Yeah, you know.
Very important. The problem is, when can you? You know what I mean? Especially if you're like a mom like me, like you're very involved. You only ask for the help when you absolutely need it. You know, you don't want to impose. And I know, people are willing to, but people got lives, like, so for me, it's like I only ask for the help when I really, really need it. And I also work part-time, so I'm with my kids all the time. And it's very draining. But I also feel guilty when I try to step away, because I'm like, I know I'm needed there. What if something's happening and I'm not, So it's like trying to find, it's important, but it's hard to find that balance of, not feeling the mom guilt while you're taking care of yourself. So what I try to do now is when it's nap time, I try to skip out and go do something while the baby is napping. But that's, for me, that's a challenge. Is trying to balance it and not feeling guilty about not being there.
Yeah. So what do you do to take care of your mental health?
I don't know. Go spend money. Go shop. Go to Target. Go to whatever store I can go to. Just go. That's really what I do. Put them to bed early.
Yeah.
So that I can have the rest of the evening.
That's right.
I don't want to see no child looking at me at 9, 10 o'clock at night. I don't want to look at you. I love your little face, but I don't want to see it after. You know what I mean? So put them to bed. Bedtime between 7:30, 8:30. When nap time is, go out, cleaning is so therapeutic for me. Oh my God, I clean. Can you?
Really? Yeah.
Can you? It is bad. I clean. Jeremy be like, there's nothing even there, and you're just right. He's like, there's nothing even there. Cleaning has become so therapeutic. Yeah, I love it. I feel so good after scrubbing something. Like, it just needs to happen. Right, yeah, get a little aggression.
It works.
Yeah.
What about you, Chakari?
Definitely important to take care of my mental health. Right now, me and Carly's dad are living separately, so when she's gone with him, that's when I do like my self-care. Have my nails done, go to the spa. I like to eat. Love to eat. Yes, that's normally go to the gym. Yeah.
And that's something that I want to start doing. I be trying to work out with her, but our schedules don't match. But
we're gonna do it this year.
Yeah, the gym. I feel like that's a really good way to take care of yourself. Yeah, just to get that aggression out. I really need to start getting back to doing that.
Yeah. One thing I started is doing blocks of the time. Like I have my schedule now, and y'all pray for me because it's gonna start at 4 a.m.
So what you mean blocks?
Like I have my prayer time is gonna be from 4 to 4:30 in the morning, and then
So you made do you mean like you made a
I
day?
made
I
a whole
did too. Mine is supposed to start at 6. So.
yeah.
Well,
So it's gonna
So
be
you're
usually
yeah.
awake at that time in the morning
So
anyway.
4:30.
So 4 to 4:30 is going. What are you two talking about?
I'm like,
But
is
it's
the
gonna start.
Lord awakening?
He's up.
I don't think he want to hear you at 4
He's up. He never sleeps. He's always up.
You're right.
So yeah, but I'm gonna start doing that, and even like on my calendar at work, I have blocked time for my prayer time in the afternoon, and just my 15-minute breaks. I'm gonna take those and just get outside and just walk. So just to kind of clear my head and just come back to whatever I was. So I have those blocked times that are on my schedule now. That's one of the ways that I'm gonna start taking care of my mental health is to just break away from some some things when I need to.
Yeah.
So, and that may be something that's useful to you or useful to somebody else, is to schedule those times that you're able to do that.
That is.
So, and I've heard my husband say so many times, make an appointment with God. So I've made those appointments with him.
Yeah.
And I plan on keeping those
At
appointments
4.
with him.
4 in the morning.
Yeah, 4 a.m. I know.
I'm aiming for 6. So
Yeah. But I'm usually awake anyway.
yeah, see, what time do you go to bed?
My and that's another thing, is my cutoff time. It's gotta be like 9:30.
Yeah.
So I'm able to get up and do that. Yeah.
All right.
So y'all be praying for me.
We'll pray for you, girl. I
Please.
ain't praying at 4 o'clock. But we're going to pray for you.
Yeah, but it's important for me to be able to do that because my day is full throughout the day. So I gotta get it in there when I can.
Yeah.
You have to prioritize.
Yes.
It makes a lot of things go smoother when you have a plan and you have a schedule. Trying to just do stuff and just go with the wind every day.
No,
it's,
I can't.
You
I don't
be
see
a
how
mess.
people function with
Especially with having kids
Right.
and stuff. No.
Right.
It makes it easier when you are organized. So.
Yeah. So, and we've talked about this before, but I want to bring it in because having a young black lady that you're raising, how do you feel about her growing up compared to how you grew up?
I'm not ready.
Okay.
I'm not ready. Yeah, I'm not ready. Just like you said, Miss Kenya, trying to just, gonna try to protect her from the things that I was not protected from. And just making sure that I, instill the right things in her, instill that wisdom in her, to allow her to make good decisions, have discernment when it comes to friends, certain environments, situations. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Jocelyn?
What was it again?
Compared to, and I know you're not a man, but you have 2 young sons, right? So being young black men and growing up to even just compared to how your husband grew up and comparison with them, how do you feel about them growing up, the future that we have in store for us?
I don't know. I'm worried because things have changed so much. We experienced these things, but I feel like now it's like heightened. Like a lot of things are, especially with social media, it's so much more, like influence has already been there, but influence is even like, it's magnified now and stuff. So my concern with them is the influence, like how, for me, it's just, it shows itself more, like a lot stronger than what it was before.
Yeah.
It's always been there. It's just, so I'm really worried about just the influence. I hope that what we teach them and how we grew up, I hope that it sticks.
Yeah.
And when they'll recognize that ain't right.
Right.
Everybody else may be doing it, but I know that's not right because that's not what feels right to me.
Okay. So what's the appropriate age, do you think, for social media?
Social
Now,
media.
y'all were
social media,
in-
like what, like TikTok or like
Whatever it is, because y'all were in y'all was in the little MySpace
Oh
group.
my God, I just do not. I love social media, but I do not like it for kids. Period.
We
I
got
just
classes
don't.
on MySpace.
Oh, what do you think?
Well, I made a MySpace page. We changed our age of it. We got called
probably
out.
so.
We got called out about it
Probably
1 year. Yeah.
What
For me,
grade were we, like middle school?
we were like middle school.
Yeah.
I think maybe 13 or 14.
That's what
Maybe
I'm thinking,
13
like,
or
yeah.
14. I think I mean, it's still an impressionable age. Like you're still, you know, but I feel like you know better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that age, like you're about to go into high school, so you're already going to see a lot of real life stuff. You know, and I just think of it like, you know, when I was in middle school, 6th grade, there was a girl who was pregnant in middle school with us. So I feel like once you get to that age, like when you're about to leave middle school and enter into high school, which is a lot more realistic, and you know, unlike elementary where everything's like fairy tale play, and like I feel like maybe like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Get to that age. Yeah.
How much monitoring do you think that you're going to do?
Oh,
my mom was definitely.
hand me that phone. Yeah,
And
give
she
it
kind
here.
of still is with my little sister, so yes.
Yeah, give it here.
Definitely monitoring.
I'm gonna have to have access to it.
Even with the
It ain't no privacy for that.
the camera in Cardi's room now, like I monitor.
Oh yeah.
Like, everything.
I
Like I'm monitoring.
I got the one that swivels that
And
moves
she'll
around so I can see
like,
where he's
look, if
going.
her friends are over, like, cause she'll know when I'm watching, cause the blue light come on. She'll tell her friends.
That
I'm
is
watching
funny.
everything.
That is funny.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll do a lot of monitoring.
Definitely.
Cause me, I just don't think if it's gotta be private, it ain't appropriate. You know what I mean? At that
Right,
age.
at that age.
At any age, if it's that private, it's not always appropriate.
Well, I mean, once they get like 16, 17, 18,
It's not
like,
appropriate.
It's
I
still-
feel, but you know, well, but I don't want them to feel like they can't be. I don't know. I mean, if they're under your roof, I get it. It's your house. You should be able to do what you want to do. But I feel like they're about to, if they're on their way out, you know, I'm not always gonna be there to be. So once you get to be like seniors and juniors and seniors and stuff, I mean, it's just like they gonna go cold turkey. They go from you always watching to you. They gonna wild out a little bit. So let's kind of ease it. I'll give you a little bit more, you know, trust until you give me a reason not to.
So do you guys see now, and can you tell me about this with your kids? Do you hear, I understand why you said what you said?
From the 30-year-old and the 21-year-old every now and then, but that 16-year-old, she just does not get it. But I was one of those parents, not just social media, the world, period. Because I was introduced by my grandparents, so they were real filtered in what they said. I got all my information from my friends. It was all wrong. So I was one of those parents that we having some serious conversations, and I'm going to tell you the appropriate term, but I'm going to tell you the term that you may hear from your friends as well, because that was a fear of mine, if you will. I was so scared that my kids was going to get all their information from their friends, because that's how I got it. So, you know, even with my oldest daughter, constantly, she is like, Mom, I understand. Oh my God, it just makes so much more sense to her. My son, with certain mature situations, he was like, oh, Mom, I understand why y'all did this. But with my 16-year-old, she just does not get it right now, because she's at that stage where I want to be 16, but I'm still your baby. I want you to treat me like I'm 16, but I still want to act like I'm 12. So she's in that, I'm so confused right now. I don't know what to do. So it's still hard for me now, you know, because it's hard to find a balance with her. Like if I go somewhere with her, I always call my oldest daughter and say, hey, meet us, because she kind of keep it balanced. Because I'm at the part where I'm tired. I don't want to be with y'all.
Right.
I don't even want to talk to y'all. But so, you know, but
So do
she
you
does
do a lot of
understand.
monitoring with your 16-year-old? How are you? Do you allow her to go places? Or?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I allow her to go places. Like we said earlier, shared location is mandatory.
Okay.
She still has to ask permission. She don't just go. She, if it's a football game or whatever, she still asks permission. Now, you know, when she get out of school, she has her job, she'll still say, Mom, I gotta work today. I'm like, what time you get off? And that's
okay.
But I still I monitor all of them. They tell me, you still stalking us?
Right.
But I think that's fair. I think that's fair though.
Yeah.
Like you still, and y'all are, like you said, seasoned mothers. But I mean, doesn't it still feel good to still feel like a mom, like even though they're grown? Because like even with the babies, I feel some type of way sometimes. I'm like, y'all don't want mommy to do this for you, and you're only 2 or 3.
Right.
So do you still feel in moments with certain things like it feels good to still feel like a mom, or you like, I'm so happy I'm done, y'all go ahead and do what you want to do? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so sometimes it feels, when they call and say, well, you know, I did this today, and I feel like it was because we did something right, that feels so good.
Mm-hmm.
I still love the fact that my kids respect so much of what I think.
Yeah.
But I'm also learning that sometimes that overbearing is to a fault. And I've had to learn, that has been one of the most challenging things to do, is to find a balance as to where I'm not so involved.
Yeah.
And I think it was last year or year before last, my kids called me one day bad, and I was like, look, I'm sick of y'all, I'm tired. I've been doing this for 30 years, I'm over it.
Right.
And they blatantly said to me, Mom, we don't need you as much as you think we need you, that's you. And that was a wake up call for me,
Mm-hmm.
because then I understood I could give a little bit more leeway. I can monitor from afar. I don't have to be in all of it.
Right.
And I think my 16-year-old has started to appreciate it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she'll a little bit in her feelings about, oh, where y'all going? You know, but it's giving me, it's preparing me for emptiness, which is something I'm looking forward to. Yeah.
So I have a question for y'all. Looking back now, what is something that you would have done different with your kids? Let's start with the one over there, like mama.
Clutching my pearls.
What would you have? What's the one thing that stands out the most that you feel like, okay, I really wish that I would have done that different?
I would probably say discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Discipline would have been different for me.
And like heavier?
Yeah, it would have been heavier.
I was gonna say, because
Yeah.
you really weren't the disciplinary.
It would have been.
Okay.
It would have been heavier. I would have put my foot down probably more. Honestly, I'm a pushover with stuff. Yeah, I really am.
Wow.
I really am. A lot of things I'm like, if it's now there's been times where I'm like, hold on. Let me put my hands on you. There's been times where I'm like, let me get a hold of you. But that's really serious stuff. But I probably overlooked a lot more than what I should have. So I think I should have been more a disciplinarian than probably what I was. Yeah. You agree with that, Jocelyn?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, especially with Alondra, you know, the baby.
I was tired.
I know you were tired. I was tired.
Yeah.
Especially with the baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Daddy was definitely the disciplinarian between the two of you. I don't think that you were a complete pushover. But I would agree with your statements. I'm just gonna say that. That's all.
Oh, bad. Number one, I would have had them closer in age, because that gap is draining, you know. But when you mentioned discipline, I think I would have been a little less harsh than what I was.
Oh,
today.
really?
Oh, I'm the disciplinarian. I don't. Yeah, it was me. My husband don't have a clue what going on. Now, when he need to jack somebody up, he'll do that, but it takes a lot to make him do it. But I was always on top of everything. It wasn't too much breathing over there.
Yeah.
That is my mom.
But would you say that just for yourself, or do you feel like it like affected them? You know what I mean?
It affected them, because I had to learn from my oldest daughter, and that's why she thinks that now with my younger daughter, she gets away with too much. She always says, my face would have been across the room.
Okay.
I just
Of
couldn't say
course.
that. And I was saying, I'm tired. It don't even matter right now.
That's
But
good right there.
Of course.
I was wore out. I didn't have it in me anymore. I always say, like, okay, Alondra was making her own bottles by the time she came along, because I was too tired.
What's the age difference between
30, 21, and 16.
so 30 and 16? So that's what, 14
14.
years?
14 years.
Alondra's only 5 years younger than me.
Tired.
Why was she that tired?
was tired.
We all within 5 years of each other. Why were you that tired by the time she came back? I understand a 14-year gap, but a 5 year.
Y'all don't understand. Jocelyn and Kendra were
They were
10
about-
kids wrapped in 2.
Oh,
And it was a lot with them.
that's hilarious.
It was difficult.
So you were trying to get pregnant with me.
No!
So you
But
was-
to her defense, Daddy was military. We were moving.
Yeah.
He was gone at times, so I know why you were tired.
Yeah, right.
I'm messing.
Exactly.
I'm messing with you.
Exactly.
But I just find that to be really funny.
I don't care.
Okay.
I was tired. And I didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I could not do it anymore. It was exhausting.
So my next question is: do you feel like moms now, and there's so many different types of mothers, but what's like a common mistake that you're seeing now with current, I guess, younger moms or new moms?
Hands off. I think that they allow social media to take the place of mothering. I think they allow the TV to take the place of mothering. I think that it's too many women that are in the street and not taking care of their children. I think that a lot of them are allowing a man to take up their time and not pay attention to their children. That's what I think some of the problems are. And I also think that a lot of moms, and I'm going to include the dads in there as well, are not paying attention to what is going on in their schools. And I think that they need to be more involved. I would volunteer in y'all's classroom from time to time when I could.
Oh, yeah.
And I think parents need to be more of a presence in their kids' lives than what they are, instead of pushing them off
Yeah.
and not spending enough time with them. Because even if you're in the same room, it doesn't mean that you're spending time with your children.
Right.
Read with them. I remember sitting on the couch. I don't know if you remember or not, because when we lived in Hawaii, but even when we lived in California, there's been so many places where we lived at. But we had that time where we sat and we would read at the end of the day, just as a calm down. Let's wind down a little bit. Read them a story at the end of the day, and just have some one-on-one time with them. But parents, a lot of times, they don't do that, and they're so busy pushing them off. And I'm not saying that the father is not responsible, because he's a very important part of the child's life as well. But we all know a lot of the responsibility falls on the mother. We're the nurturers. We're the ones that are probably pouring more into our children. And how many times have you heard the phrase, if you can't depend on your mother, you can't depend on anything? So a child is looking more towards their mother probably than they are their father. But it needs to be. And another thing with this, stop talking around your kids any kind of way. Stop using.
They soak up everything.
They're soaking up everything. Stop using certain language around their children. A 3-year-old should not be saying the B word. They shouldn't be dropping F-bombs anywhere. But you hear a lot of kids that are saying these things because they're listening to it in the home. Stop thinking that certain lifestyle is so appealing, and then you wonder why your kids are acting the way that they are. Don't allow your children to lay in the bed until 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, because you're raising lazy children. Get them up. Get up out the bed. Get your room together. Let's get this I stopped when they told me. I got so mad when they told me I was losing their clothes. I said, well, come on in the room. Y'all come on in here. Let me show you how to sort your laundry. Let's do that. I will say one of the mistakes. Oh yeah,
The socks were missing, Mom.
girl, I didn't care. I do not care. Y'all don't blame me. The washer wasn't in them.
I don't know. I'm just saying the laundry's going in the basket, but it ain't returning.
It wasn't all.
She
That's
got
why.
so mad.
Yeah, but that's one thing that I would. That's another thing that I would have changed, is not done so much. And allowed them to. Because I'm like, I'll just do it. I'll just do it. And I blame myself for that, because I didn't have the patience to show them certain things. And I'm just like, I'll just do it. It's just easier for me to do it. When you got 3 kids and a husband and a dog running around.
And the dog.
And the dog running around. I'll just do it myself. It was just easier for me to do it, but I would have taken more time to do those things.
But that goes back to like your mental health. Like you gotta do what's best for you.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you doing those things.
Yeah.
Hindsight, you're like, I probably should have. But at that time, that was the best that you could do.
Yeah.
Like people make
Yeah.
fun that sometimes I still feed my kids. I will sit at the table with them and give them everything because I don't want the mess. So I'm like, I hear what y'all are saying, but for me, this is just what's best for me to do. It ain't
Stop
perfect.
feeding Carly, and her dad would be like,
Yeah.
why? Like, I mean, why?
Yeah, like some things, little things
Yeah.
like that. You know, you just do what's best for you at that time. It's
Yeah.
not wrong that you were doing that stuff.
Mhm.
But now you're like, I should have been teaching them more independence.
Mhm.
Well, we figured it out at some point.
So what?
Yeah.
I don't have
About
to
how
go
old were they when they started doing laundry?
That was high school.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they were in
In
Fayette.
high school. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I was, even now, like Carly, we at the washing machine, I'm showing her how to, but my
Mhm.
mom was that way with me, very
Mhm.
independent.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I also didn't think that kids. That was just my opinion.
Mhm.
I didn't think that kids needed to take on adult responsibilities too.
Right.
So I was like, let them be kids.
Yeah.
You know. But then when they accused me of losing their stuff, y'all come on.
She
Mom.
sure did. I mean, I was just saying, my sock,
Yeah.
something's not here that should be.
Apparently, one of those socks didn't make it from the room to the hamper.
Okay.
So we just eliminated all of that. You got your own
And
stuff.
that's-
You can take care of it. No problem at all. But it was just, it's those kind of things.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I think is going on with not just mothers but fathers as well. Be present in the home.
Yeah, definitely present.
Be present
Involved.
Involved, yeah.
I think you're
And
present, but be
And that's what I mean.
Involved, yeah.
Involved.
Right.
Be present in the
Mhm.
moment. Be there. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Because your kids are asking you for certain things.
Right.
And if you're not paying attention to it, they're gonna find it someplace else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always say, like, let's come into their world.
Right.
Let's come, because
Mhm.
they really do be in their own little world.
Mhm.
So sometimes instead of just watching them run around and talking to them from across the room, like go run with them, go see what they're doing,
Yeah.
play, like be real. I mean,
Active.
be repetitive, but hands on with them, and come into their world for a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
And they love that.
don't allow everyone around your kids.
Don't.
Just everyone.
Be very
kids, or
selective.
even just say you're
Mhm.
dating. It's your kids don't have to meet every
That's a
man,
big
every woman.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a great point. With a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
you can't have all these men around your children. Now that's a big, for me, that's a big part of motherhood.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
you have to be that protector for your child.
Right.
You don't just, and that doesn't just go for a little girl, that goes for little boys too.
Yep.
You have to be that protector. You can, and not just dating wise, a woman dating another, a man, but just in general with what you were saying, because look at the influences
Yeah.
that people can have on your children.
Yes.
You don't want to, oh gosh.
If they think that they're cool and they want to be like them, and
Mhm.
well, so and so does this,
Mhm.
you want to have them surrounded by people who align with your same
Mhm.
beliefs. They may not be exactly
Yeah.
the same, but you want to have them to where if you have them around, they're not gonna turn your kid away from what you want them to be focused
Right.
on.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's important too.
Right.
absolutely. All right, so I think we're gonna wrap this up. Kenya, what else do you have?
Everything that you guys said is just one thing that's really important for me now that I learned later in life that I had to learn from my older kids. When we're talking about being intentional with our kids and coming into their worlds, we have to realize that our kids are in a different type of challenging times than we were in. And we have to be more intentional about understanding their depression, their concerns, all of the things that they're involved in.
Right.
And we have to learn how to adjust to what they're going through now, not just this is how it's going to be because I'm the mom and I make the rules and I make the decisions. We have to respect the times that our children are in because they are totally different.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Jocelyn?
Nothing really to add. I just think that we just need to be more, kind of like what everybody said, just more conscious of what we bring around and what we expose and how we act, our actions, because they're gonna mirror what they see. A lot of our, like you say, you see so much of you and your kids,
Mhm.
it ain't just genetics. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
like a lot of it is
Right.
like what
It's
They-
environmental.
Right.
yes,
Right.
environment and what
Environmental.
they see. So just continue to not just show them something, but live it every day,
Mhm.
constantly, so they can constantly see it. They'll constantly get adjusted to it, and that's just their instinct. That's just what they know.
Mhm.
And then just do your best to find the balance to take care of yourself, but to
Yes.
also be very present. And it's challenging. Like that's something that I struggle with is finding the balance between that. But just work towards it. Don't just say it's a problem.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're being intentional about taking care of yourself too, because you're not going to be the best mother if you're not your best self
That's
first.
Right.
You gotta be your
point.
best self.
Good
Yeah.
point. Good point. Chakari?
Literally, just like you said, you have to lead by example. That's number one. Just make sure that we're making good decisions, that our kids are seeing our actions, and take care of ourselves. That's about it.
Okay. So I would say, as far as motherhood, just know that it's a gift. There's a lot of women that are not able to have children. And when you have been selected to be gifted with a child, take care of that gift and be the best mother that you possibly can be. So that's all I have. I could probably go on and on. We could probably
That was good,
sit and
though.
talk for another 2 hours about this, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap up this part 3 discussing motherhood. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video, hit that notification bell so that you know when Small Talk with Kenya and Dawn comes on, which premieres every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. So until then, have a great day.